Hello friends, welcome. I'm Commissar Mark and today we are going to be making a video in C3 Augustus about culture and how does culture rating work. Because it might be a little bit hard to know what to do and what affects the rating in question. So first let's take a look at what culture rating is. It is one of the original ratings that was in the game from when it came out, and it's supposed to represent how educated your city is, as well as if it worships its gods properly, things like that. With Augustus, this has been slightly expanded, but the core idea behind culture is essentially the same. You will be able to build monuments in your city which could boost this rating permanently with flat out boosts, and I'm gonna mention what these are and how much they give, but there are myriad of other factors that go into it. Lastly, the rating itself is not static. It depends how large your city is, that much capacity for your school children, for example, to grant you a bonus for culture you need. So the larger the population of your city, the more capacity for certain service like libraries, schools, or academies will be required to achieve full coverage or the capacity for education. This is a factor, a main one in culture rating, and you will often need to do a culture dump, which is towards the end of the playthrough of a single map. You would usually let the culture be the last rating. Why would you do this? Is culture is calculated on monthly basis, as opposed to prosperity, which is calculated a yearly basis. So each time January is reached, you get a recalculation of your prosperity according to how high you can go, what's the limit of going, how many points you can go, and things like that. I could cover prosperity as well, because there are a couple of things that go into it, but suffice to say with culture, you can just cheese it sort of where it calculates at monthly basis. And so what you could do, even if you have very big labor problems in your city, you would wait until you are almost done. Everything would be fulfilled, population is there, prosperity is there, you have money, you've got everything you need, you have favor. So you would wait until that's all done, and then you would just suddenly turn off your industry that you use for exports, so you get workers if you need them, and then spam a whole bunch of schools, academies, and libraries somewhere in the corner. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as it has labor access, and then activate them. And then the game's gonna realize, oh, the player now has full coverage, and it recalculates it after a month in game. And so the penalties from the city having to support such a huge culture block do not apply, because you win, basically, as long as you keep it for the last month. And there's no reason to push it before then, unless it's a custom map with custom events. This is what you would do on normal maps. This is mainly why culture has not been used as a rating in custom maps. Usually you would see, like, most good custom maps actually have culture rating required at 0, because it proves nothing. Even if it was to be like, oh, player needs to dedicate a part of their population and worker pool to, keep education going. Yeah, not really, because what happens is, again, you can just spam it the last month and the game's gonna recalculate it immediately, and the whole game you've basically not been paying for that extra upkeep or whatever you call it. So it punishes efficient blocks as well, because of course, if your block has 4,000 population in it, and it only has one school, then the advisor is gonna say, oh, we should have more schools because this one, the walkers cover the block, but we should have more because numbers say that, right? And so you can easily tell, if you are in game in your advisors, what is your capacity or coverage. It's called coverage. I call it capacity because it's effectively a capacity in your education structures from a single part of the education industry, I guess. So like schools, libraries, academies, there's a breakdown, and it will tell you if it's adequate, below average. If it's perfect, then it's gonna give you maximum culture points from that category. Something that contributes as well is if your gods are kept happy. So that's gonna contribute to the city's it's gonna contribute to the city's culture by adding a couple of points flat out. What else contributes is again, monuments, big monuments. So as long as you build, I'm gonna put it on the screen right now which monuments there are and what kind of number it is to increase your culture rating. And so that's how you can boost it as well. And that, as you can get quite high with the monuments built, all monuments built in your city. That's gonna really give you a lot. Plus, of course, it's expensive, but you might want these monuments anyway. If it's a custom map, these bonuses are very good. Something else is there is a function in Augustus where some buildings, I think it's all culture buildings now, if you build decorations around them, so desirability, like have them have a plaza, have them have some statues around them, things like that, they will evolve visually to represent the bigger capacity within the building itself. And so a single school will suddenly be able to give you more of that capacity or coverage for school children because it's an evolved school. This is kind of useful, but also keep in mind that if space is a concern, then this might not be worth it because, you could have just fitted more schools. If you have workers, why not do that? Because it still doesn't feel natural if it evolves. Like the little capacity usually will not push you to 100 culture anyway. If you have 2 or 3 evolved of each kind, it's just overall a little boost. But yes, you can do that as well. So as long as you don't have the workers, perhaps giving them, if you have the money, giving them some decorations instead to make your culture smaller but evolved would actually give you the same benefit, but for reduced worker cost. But again, I insist, do not culture dump before you are certain you are winning the map, because it is very expensive to run all those workers, and the game calculates it at month basis, so why would you run it any other time? Because it proves nothing. That's the thing about the culture rating, and why it hasn't been used much is that it proves nothing, since the players can. This is not even cheesing it, it's just how it always was, and it's just a puzzling design a little bit, because again, it's the worst rating. There's a good reason why it isn't used in custom maps, but this is how it works. And so for anyone who might have been wondering about this, this is your answer to the culture rating and how to deal with it. As I mentioned before, it does scale with the city size though. So as bigger the city you get, the more coverage the advisors will request from you. Okay, so there's no single number. I can't tell you like with 10 schools you will be able, and 10 libraries and 5 academies, you'll be able to reach 100 culture. No, because it depends what your city size is. You could notice early on actually in your city's history where you have just a couple of hundred population, the advisors actually gonna go, oh, we have so much capacity. Yeah, because there are not many people in the city, even with one school. It's gonna tell you that you are doing well. But as your city grows, especially if you use efficient blocks, it will start to bother you with the fact that you should not be building additional pylons. Okay, so anyways, that's it for culture. Thank you for watching and see you around. Bye.